drive ahead of us to visit a national park that covers a semi-desert known as Karoo. The Karoo is the largest ecosystem in South Africa and is home to a fascinating variety of wildlife. Despite the harsh climate conditions, even the drive here offers breathtaking scenery. We drove past Oudtshoorn, where we normally always make a stopover, but not today. We arrived in the early afternoon and were so excited because we had never visited the park before. The layout of the national park is quite unique, as the main road runs through the fenced area of the camp. We checked in at the reception, which also features a small shop. After deciding on a campsite and setting up camp, we took a short evening drive, as we only had an hour before the gate closed. We decided to drive up the Klipspringer Pass, where a viewpoint can be found. On the way back, we spotted our first game, some zebras. We enjoyed the beautiful and surreal landscape and went to bed early. After an early wake-up call, we decided to drive the 45-kilometer loop, which took us about 5 hours. There are only 2 routes that you can drive in a normal car. For all the other roads, you need a 4x4. Right at the beginning, we found red hartebeests with their youngs, who were obviously having fun playing. The Springbok is the national animal of South Africa. That's quite funny, because you won't find them in South Africa's most famous national park, the Kruger. They are only found in drier regions, like the Karoo. In a dry riverbed, there were some velvet monkeys, probably the most common species of monkey found in South Africa. We stopped at a picnic site to have breakfast. This picnic site is equipped with toilets, braai areas, and tables in the shade. We even had a little visitor who was a bit pushy, and Tim was attacked by ants, so he tried to keep his feet off the ground. Shortly after the picnic area, we spotted some oryxes, or gemsbok. They are insanely beautiful and usually very skeptical. They kept an eye on us the whole time, probably because they had babies too. There are several viewpoints where you can get out of your vehicle. The view from this lookout point is simply breathtaking. It reminds me a little of North America, with these vast open landscapes. Just watch out for the many snakes here, as there are 18 different species living in the park. The drive to the viewpoint can be challenging, as there is a lot of loose gravel, which makes the road slippery if you are not driving a 4x4. After enjoying the view, we drove on and found more ostriches. You can easily tell the sexes apart by the color of their feathers. The males have black ones and the females brown ones. We found some zebras on the plateau, but not normal zebras. These are mountain zebras. They can live in very cold and hot climates because of their wide temperature range. This is due to the dewlap on their neck, which allows them to regulate their temperature by releasing heat. Otherwise, they have slightly thicker fur, larger, more hairy ears, and they are not really black, but rather dark brown, compared to the plain zebra found in Kruger, Tanzania or Kenya. After the second viewpoint, at the Klipspringer Pass, we finally found the animals that gave the pass its name. We drove back to camp, because you won't see much during the heat in the middle of the day. What we really like about Karoo National Park is the campsite. We actually spotted a lot of game inside the fenced camp area, sometimes even more than what we saw on a drive. Each site has its own braai and is very spacious, so it doesn't matter if you come with a tent, a car or a trailer. The campsite itself is exceptionally clean, and especially the ablutions are really nice. There is also a communal kitchen with stoves, sinks and boiling water. The next morning started with very good game sightings, but we were not prepared for what we saw next. We couldn't believe our eyes. This was the first black rhino we've ever saw. Usually they are very hard to see because they hide in the thicket. That's why most people only see white rhinos. They prefer the open plains. We decided to drive the little loop between the camp and the main gate. It's just a very small loop, which takes about 45 minutes to an hour to drive. Here you can find a public swimming pool, which is also accessible for day visitors. And of course, you will find dry areas. In the afternoon, we visited the Interpretive Center. It's very close to the campsite, but outside of the fenced area. So you need to drive there. But you will find very interesting facts about the history of this region. Between the campsite and the reception, you will find the fossil trail. Here, you will find interesting information about the geology and history of the area. There are also some exhibitions of some fossils found in the region. The next morning, we had to leave early. There are also lions and different hyenas in the reserve, but we weren't lucky enough to see them. But we could definitely hear the lions at night, so they are around. We really enjoyed our stay, and will definitely be back soon. Would you visit a national park that is not a Big 5 park? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you on the next adventure.